Alright, so in this video we're going to look at what a customer portal is. What does it look like to one of your customers or clients? How do you set it up? So the 3 steps involved. What does your client see and how do they actually get invited and how can you help them with that? So there's a video that we'll talk about. And we'll look at what notifications your client gets to alert them of changes within the portal. We'll also look at your notifications. So when clients respond or send you messages or react in some way inside the portal, how you are notified of that. Great, so point 1 is, what is a customer portal? And the easiest way to sum all of this up is a client portal or a customer portal or a client project, it does get called a few different things, is basically a way that you can connect your Buildxact account to a place that the client can log into and see all documents and messages and that kind of thing. So it's a client communication tool. The whole point of it is that we can get all of the documentation, all the messages in one place, and we can really try and simplify all of that. So rather than chasing emails and phone calls, we pop it all into this project or portal. And from there, everyone goes to the one place to find all that stuff, and you're really trying to keep the whole project more organized for both yourself and for the client. Secondly, it looks pretty professional. So just as a sales tool or something that makes you look more professional and more organized than maybe you are, it really takes your kind of business appearance and the way you appear to clients outward up a gear. So with that, let's go look at what one looks like. And this one is one that's set up for a mock company that I use for demos. And when a client actually goes to your one, you'll have your own logo, your own color scheme, but this is the one that's set up for mine. So I'm going to go log in, and after we do this, we're going to do a full circle and go back to how you set them up and how people get invited and that kind of stuff. But I'm covering off the main question first, which is what on earth is it? So once the client is inside of this portal, they'll be presented with each of the projects they have with you. So what they might have is, a kitchen reno, and then later down the track you do a bathroom reno as well. That will be 2 separate projects, and each of those has its own home with all the details of that work. So if they go into one of those, you will see that, this portal is really just a messaging area and a document storage area, but we try and present it in such a way that it's really easy to use for both your client and for yourself. So I'm going to run through the main parts here. Messages is very similar to just like a text message back and forward, i.e. you can have attachments, you can just text things, and it's got this idea that you can have this kind of message thread where people you send and then reply. We've got document sections like quotes, plans, documents, which is kind of a miscellaneous where you can make your own folders, variations, invoices, and you'll probably look at this and go, well, this is cool. This is the stuff I send my client anyway. And that's the whole point. We've purposely made this into sections for things that you're very likely to send clients as the job goes on. And we're really just, again, trying to make this all one place that houses all the documents that your client would actually ever need to access. There is a contacts section, which is more about the client seeing your previous work and having your details handy. This goes into another use of the client portal, which is that, or another kind of element of the client portal, and this is that we, as Buildxact, will keep this client portal open for your clients even after your job with them is done. So what that means is the client can come back and get a quote that you sent them years ago, or have a look in the invoice, or documents are particularly useful in this because people are now able to use it for handover documents, warranties, etc. And if they're in here browsing around, which they will be, we want them to be able to keep essentially in touch with you and reach out to you. So the idea is that they'll be in here, they'll go, oh, geez, that kitchen looks pretty schmick. And they can message you really easily and ask for more quotes or try and engage for more work. Or really just contact you if they go, hey, look, my next door neighbor needs a job done. Can you reach out to so-and-so? We're just really trying to keep you within reach. Tied to that is another idea about this client portal, and that is that the client essentially owns this. So similar to email is how I usually explain it, meaning that if you send an email to someone with a warranty document or a quote or something in it, you can't take that email back. I mean, you can obviously revise it and say, look, I made a mistake, sorry, here's the new one. And in the portal, if you do that, they'll see the new date with the same quote number so they can see which one's more recent. But once something's in the portal, the client essentially owns it. You can't take things out of the portal and you can't remove the client portal once the client has it. So as we go through the steps of making this, I'm going to come back to this idea, but I really want to just kind of touch on why we do it that particular way. All right, let's go back to Buildxact and we will set this client portal up. So the client portal or project is started from the leads area, but it doesn't mean you have to start it at the same time as a lead. In fact, you can start it pretty much whenever you like. So what I'm saying here is you could go create the lead and then instantly create a client portal. And that would be good if you wanted to use it more as a sales tool to impress the client and send some preliminary documents in it. You might hold tight and you might go, well, look, we'll create the lead and then we'll do the quote. And then when we've got a quote to share with them, that's when we'll open the portal up and use it to share that quote. Cool, perfect, works for us. Or you might leave it even later and go, hey, look, we'll wait until the job's open and then you'll come back and open the portal. No problem. Any of those three is perfect. But as far as actually making it exist, there's three main steps to it. Step one is you publish the project. Step two is that you share in any documents that you want to. And step three, which we can't actually see yet, is invite. So let's go through these now. I'm going to say publish project, step one. And this literally just makes the portal exist, meaning that it's not actually inviting anyone at this point. It literally is just making it exist, but actually no one's looking at it. So the reason I stress this point is if you publish it and then you share documents in, then you realize you made a complete mess of it. It's really not the end of the world. You can, if you really need to, make another lead, make a whole new portal, and it's like the initial problem never happened. So let's go publish this. It'll ask you to confirm what welcome message you want, and you can change that if you like, but I don't mind this one. So that's what they'll see when they log in eventually for the first time. And just a warning saying, hey, published projects can't be undone. Cool, we know that already. And it'll have a think. And it's basically just created or published one in the background. Step two, I go and share documents in to the portal at this point. And the reason I do this is I think that when you are inviting someone to this portal, their first impression should be awesome. So said another way, if you invite them and there's nothing for them to look at, it's not really that exciting. Versus if they get in there and there's an estimate or some selection documents or maybe a document about previous work that you've done or about your business or something like that, that's heaps better than it just being empty. And this actually brings me to a point or a question we get a lot, and that is that does the client just see absolutely everything? And the answer is no. Where I'm sharing this document or loading a document to share to the portal, the only stuff that client will see is the things I actively share to them. And that means you're in total control of what they see. So I've just gone documents and I'm going to load a document. It's going to ask me for a folder name. And anytime it asks you for this, often people just go, yeah, next. But I do recommend that you keep these folders organized. Go like selections, and it's using the selections folder, upload. The reason is anytime we force you to have a folder name, it's generally because someone's going to see it. And in this case, it's the client. So when we share this in like this and share, it will take the folder name selections and pop it into the portal as well. On this sharing idea, you can share from documents, you can share from things in the estimate or in the job. In fact, anywhere there's a print button or an email button, they will, once the portal exists, there will be a share button next to it. So that opens up literally anything, pretty much anything that you want to share that you would normally print or normally email, pop it into the portal instead. So I'm going to share this oven, and I'm going to choose which area of the portal it goes in, where these areas literally just marry up to these ones, and you're just choosing where it goes. Most things you share will automatically drop into a spot, but documents are a bit generic because it doesn't really know what it is, so it gives you the choice. And I'm going to say this is a selection, and this whole section down here is to do with a message that the client will get, like the little text message in their portal that they get when the item is shared. So I'll say, here is the oven we were talking about. Obviously spelling is a good thing. Share. Again, shared items can't be removed. Cool, we know that. On we go. And now that we've shared that in, the final step is just inviting this client. So I'm going to go invite here, and it'll pop up with the message and the email address that we're about to send to. So you can obviously make changes to this, but a question we always seem to get from people when they're inviting a client is they'll go, hey, look, I invited Dan, but I want to invite his partner or the architect on the job or whoever else. How do I do that? So I'm actually going to add another person to this before I do the inviting step. And the secret is that the email it's sending to and all the contact information here is being pulled from the client here, which actually answers another question. If you ever need to change this, it's coming from the client. And you can shortcut by going here. You'll see all the details here in the client area. And yeah, you can add individuals, which basically allows you to invite more people. So we'll just go Mrs. C. And perfect. Awesome. And a little point on this, we do from time to time see builders invite themselves to the portal or even invite themselves to a dummy portal to just play around with it. If you're inviting yourself to just a dummy portal to play around with it, absolutely fine. It's a great way to get a feel for it. If you're inviting yourself to a client's actual portal, the only thing you really need to be aware of is that the client will see a list of everyone who has access to that portal. And I mean, my thought on this is I don't think they're going to bat an eyelid when they see that, oh, the builder we're working with has access to the portal that they gave us. But just be conscious that the client will be aware of who has access to the portal. I suppose the reason people are adding themselves here to their own client's portal is that there's currently not really a preview mode. So we do get the point people make where they go, I just want to know what my client's seeing. Fair enough too. And adding yourself to their portal is a way around that, a way you can see what the client sees and yeah, just see their side of the world and know what their eyes are looking at. Anyway, back to the lead. So I'm going to go leads and this one. And we're going to invite some people. I'm actually just going to invite the one for now. And the invitation message to me looks great. So we'll go invite. And this opens the next step, which is the inviting process. So what that means is they will be getting an email that looks like this one, advising them that you are wanting to collaborate with them on a project and prompting them to accept the invitation, which then takes them to create a login to the client portal. At this point, we'll pause and take a bit of a detour just to talk about the fact that if you go into the Explore section and the FAQs, there is a video we've made specifically for your clients. So what that means is you could send it to them, which will make the connection for them easier and help them understand what the portal does. The steps that the emails go through are pretty straightforward, but it's really just a nice bonus thing that you can give to your client to help them through the process and especially help them understand how the portal is going to be used throughout the project. So just a note that we've actually gone and made that, and definitely recommend sending that to your client to make the process easier. So once the client gets themselves in and creates a login, they will get notifications as the portal changes and as things are added to it. So what I'm saying here is you might go and send a message, or you might add a document, you might add a variation, etc. And we want to keep the client as engaged as possible. What this means is we will contact your client when there is something to tell them. And by default, we're doing this at the end of each day. So we go and check at the end of the day, hey, is there anything new in your portal? Yay or nay? If yes, then we will send them a message that says, hey, today you got 3 new messages in your portal, and you should go check it out and see what's new. If the client wants to receive notifications faster than that, so once a day is not enough, they can go once an hour or twice daily or something like that. But know that even if they went once an hour, they will only get notified if there is something to tell them about. So it's literally just how often it checks for new things. Now back to Buildxact, and the final thing to cover here is how do you see client responses, or how do you get notified when clients message you? And the answer is that you will be alerted through the communications area and conversations, which I currently have none. Well, there we go, I lie. So you'll be able to see new messages that are popping up, and you will get, similar to the little integration number, if you've seen that, where it alerts you to the number of new things, you'll get a little orange number next to communications trying to tell you how many things are new. So this is where you will get notified if a message comes through or if the client replies to something. You can also see a very similar thing within the lead itself. So it's best put to say communications is the general notification for anything about the client portal, specifically the conversations area. But if you go into a portal, let's say this one, the communication area in here, which can take half a second to quickly check, this is where you'll see specific messages and specific communication related to that portal. This leads me to a slightly detoured kind of topic, which is that you can obviously see the messages that are going back and forward. You can go in and reply in here as well. So we often get the question, hey, when I share something, it sends a new message. And what happens if I just want to reply to a message rather than send a new one? The answer is that communication is where you'll see all those messages and can reply, add new attachments. And this is how, because we'll get this question as well, I'm sure, this is how I ended up with a thread or a topic for each of my messages, where I ended up having multiple things, multiple photos or replies back and forward about the same topic. I basically opened one of these and would reply rather than creating new messages. And depending on your preference, this can be a really good way to go. So it's worth knowing that that's an option for you. Fantastic. Well, that's the client portal in a nutshell. and hope it's been really useful. If you have further questions, do let us know, and do keep an eye out, or do go check out the client-facing video as well, because that'll give you a really good insight how the client is interacting with the portal on their side. Great, thanks so much. Cheers.